Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Story Time with Dianne Coke. Today's story is Another Cinderella by Norman Stiles. Once upon a time, there lived a girl named Cinderella. Not that Cinderella, another Cinderella. This Cinderella lived with her really nice stepmother, really nice stepsister, and really nice stepbrother. She was the light of their lives. All they wanted was that Cinderella be as happy as a young girl could be. From the day Cinderella became part of their family, they bent over backward to give her space and to let her do her own thing. They freely and gladly worked their fingers to the bone to give her anything and everything she needed or wanted, and they never ever made her do any chores. That's right, no chores, ever, never. Not only didn't she have to lift a finger, they would lift it for her. She didn't have to clean up her room or put her stuff away or even put the cap back on the toothpaste if she didn't feel like it. She didn't have to help wash the dishes or dry the dishes or bring her dish to the sink or even use a dish if she didn't feel like it. She could do whatever she wanted to do, whenever she wanted to do it, and they never butted in. If she didn't feel like it, she didn't have to go to school. They did her homework for her. She could eat whenever she was hungry, and they would cook it for her no matter what time of day. She could go to sleep whenever she wanted to go to sleep and get up whenever she wanted to get up. She could eat in bed, even something with gravy. Of course, she never ever had to help clean the cinders out of the fireplace. She liked to watch them do that. That's why they called her Cinderella. She had it made. What a life! So how comes she cried all the time? Who knows? Maybe it's a phase, her stepmother said. She'll grow out of it, I hope. Of course, they tried to talk to her. Why are you crying? They would ask. I don't know. Cinderella would sob. I don't know. And she didn't know why she cried. She just couldn't explain it. Hey, come on, stop crying, her stepmother would say. Go out and have some fun. Here's some money. Buy yourself something. Eat something. Go see a funny play. Have your hair done. Have your nails done. Have a nice cup of tea. Have a nice day. Whatever it is, try not to think about it. Hold your breath and count to 20. It works with hiccups. Maybe it will work with crying. Take a trip. Take a ride. Take an aspirin. Take a hot bath. Take off a couple of pounds. Some of these things worked for a little while, but soon, out of nowhere and for no apparent reason, Cinderella would burst into tears again. Then one Friday, Cinderella came home from school and said, I have a book report to write. It's due on Monday. A book report? Over the weekend? Oh, you poor dear, her stepmother said as she arrived home from work. Let me do it for you, Cinderella, the stepbrother cried. No, let me, the stepsister jumped in. No, me, no, me. They argued back and forth. Now, no fighting, kids. You both can do it for her, said Cinderella's stepmother. Yay! They yelled as they jumped around happily. Cinderella burst into tears. But this time, her stepmother offered something very, very special to soothe her. She showed Cinderella a beautiful designer gown that she had bought for her, along with the most beautiful and perfect accessories, including an imported pair of hand-blown glass slippers. Cinderella stopped crying when her stepmother took her outside to see a golden carriage pulled by two gorgeous horses and attended by two very impressive coach persons. You bought all this for me? Cinderella asked, blowing her nose. Well, I bought the gown and the accessories and the shoes. The coach and the horses and the coach persons are a rental, her stepmother said proudly. I did all this for you so you can go to the prince's ball at the palace on Sunday night. Maybe the prince will fall in love with you and marry you and make you happy forever and ever, and then you won't cry all the time. Cinderella burst into tears. At first, everybody thought these were tears of joy. But tears of joy don't usually last from just before supper Friday night until breakfast Sunday morning, with no sign of letting up. While they worried that Cinderella might cry all day and not be able to go to the ball that night, a great wind began to blow outside their cottage. It blew louder and stronger, shaking the cottage until finally it blew open the front door and then stopped blowing all at once. It was strangely calm and quiet, and they all stared at the open door, not knowing what to expect. Then from behind them they heard, "Made you look! Made you look!" It was Cinderella's fairy godmother. Came in through the window. "I love the unexpected," she said, with a twinkle in her eye. "Hi, I'm your fairy godmother, and I'm here to help with this crying business." Everyone was thrilled, including Cinderella, especially Cinderella. It wasn't a lot of fun going through life crying all the time. How are you going to do it? Wave your magic wand and my crying will stop? Cinderella wondered. "No, sweetheart," replied the fairy godmother patiently. "I'm good, but I'm not that good. And even if I could do that, I'm not sure it would be such a good idea. I know. You'll wave your magic wand and bring her a prince who will make her happy and her crying will stop," offered the step brother. "No, I could conjure up a prince or two, but it wouldn't work anyway." "Then you'll wave your wand and bring Cinderella riches beyond her dreams, and that will make her crying stop," the stepsister said. "No, that wouldn't work either." "Then what will you do?" the stepmother demanded impatiently. "Look," said the fairy godmother, "I think that what Cinderella needs is a sense of achievement, a feeling of accomplishment, and the satisfaction that comes from meeting a challenge." "Oh, I see. You're going to wave your magic wand and give her all that," said the stepmother. "Please hurry. We want the red in her eyes to clear up in time for the ball." "No, she's going to get all that on her own once she is given some reasonable guidelines and compassionate guidance, the fairy godmother said. Aha! That must be where the wand comes in, said the stepmother. No, that's where you come in. Everyone was very confused. Was she going to use that wand or wasn't she? She was, and she did. First, she waved it and turned the gown into overalls, the glass slippers into work boots, the coach into a pumpkin, and the coach persons into mice. She left the horses as they were to graze peacefully in the yard. Everyone except the horses was very upset. A fairy godmother wasn't supposed to take things away. What kind of fairy godmother was she anyway? Relax, she said. I'm not finished. And she waved her wand and out of thin air produced a piece of paper and a pencil. It was a very nice piece of paper and a good pencil with a sharp point. But what did a pencil and paper have to do with anything? The fairy godmother explained that she would help Cinderella's stepmother make a list of things Cinderella would have to accomplish before the gown and the other stuff would be restored. If she finished doing everything on the list before it was time to go to the ball, so be it. If not, no ball. They didn't like it. It didn't sound fair or nice or kind or loving. The fairy godmother assured them that it was all of the above. She turned to Cinderella and said, "Just do your best, dear. It will work out. Trust me." "Okay," Cinderella said in a surprisingly strong voice. "I'll try." So her stepmother, with the help of the fairy godmother, made up the list. It was a pretty long list, too, with things like helping with the breakfast dishes, including bringing her dish to the sink, cleaning up her room by herself, helping with the laundry, etc. She even had to do her book report all by herself. One by one, Cinderella did the things on the list, and as she did, she began to feel and look happier and happier. As the day went by, she didn't cry once. It looked like her fairy godmother was right, but Cinderella still hadn't written the book report. "Let us help her," the stepsister begged. "No," said the stepmother firmly. "I think we should let her do it by herself." Cinderella's fairy godmother smiled because she knew that Cinderella's stepmother was finally getting the picture. Cinderella smiled too. And then she wrote and wrote and paced and wrote and erased and wrote some more, and finally, with just 1 hour left before the ball, she finished the book report. She couldn't believe how good she felt. She had never felt that good in her entire life. Everyone cheered as her fairy godmother waved her wand and restored the gown and the glass slippers and the accessories and the coach persons. Cinderella started to cry, but this time she knew why. She didn't want to go to the ball if it meant she had to marry the prince. She didn't feel she was ready to get married. She had a lot of things she wanted to do first, like go to school, learn things, grow, become a person, stuff like that. Her stepmother agreed with her and promised that one thing she didn't have to do if she didn't feel like doing it was marry someone she didn't feel like marrying. The only things she would be expected to do from now on were things like homework and chores and stuff like that. This calls for a celebration. the fairy godmother said. And what better place to celebrate than at a ball? Off you go. And off they went. And they had a great time. Cinderella danced with the prince and thought he was sort of cute and nice. She wanted to stay late, but she left early because she had school the next day and because her stepmother told her it was time to go home. She did leave her glass slipper behind with the prince because it had her name and address inside and she wanted to see him again. Besides, she knew where he lived, so it was only fair. Over the years, Cinderella grew into a fine young woman who wrote book reports for a living. She and the prince became very good friends, fell in love, got married, and they had a very nice life together. Cinderella still cried once in a while, but then so does everybody. The end.